actually had to go and go down the street from my house, park in one of the parking lots so I can end up recording and actually get some time to record, y'all. I've been these last couple of days, I have not been able to do a lot of things in my house. It seems like things have been slowing down for me once I get inside of it. So usually when that happens, people, that could be stuff with health issues. They're doing a lot of building, so it could be that. But I also try to keep my prayer life together because I no longer think of just the physical first. I always think about the spiritual first and the physical second. Okay? Because um, if you got the spiritual first, it'll manifest into the physical. But anywho, I wanted to make this video because I was trying to make this video a couple of days ago. And I was talking about how some of my coworkers, I can see how they, everywhere I go for the most part, how they feel about me. I can come in, I can be happy, I can be chipper, I can do a lot of things, and there will always be, a group of people who just do not fancy me. Now, I'm not gonna say that everyone hates me because that's not the case. Some people really, really like me, and you can feel from their spirit, but other people, not so much. And I noticed this. I noticed something when I went a couple of days ago. This was about, excuse me, like Thursday or Friday. I got pulled into the office for um, a conversation that I was having in the restroom with someone, and it wasn't a real like deep conversation. Um, it was basically the person who overheard our conversation felt like it was offensive to them. And when we went into the office and they talked about it, I'm like, well, this was a private conversation. It was generalized, and it didn't bring any offense to anyone else. Management was looking like, oh, okay, like whatever, just squash it. And I'm like, okay, and I just kept going. I didn't worry about it. I came back. I stayed chipper. I stayed happy, and I kept moving. And this individual who went and went to management on me and my coworker, it was just like they had an angry look on their face, like they were still angry, and I'm sitting here like, dang, like what is so upsetting? Like, are they, maybe it's just one thing. So I just like let it go. But the next day, I noticed that by the time I got into that establishment, which I had got in there early, usually I try to come in early. Um, this person had already rallied up enough people to start commotion with me. But it just kept failing because I had already got it in my mind. I had got it in my mind. Okay, this is not a what I'm dealing with is not a personal issue. This is a spiritual thing because it's happening. At first I thought it was a personal thing. Maybe I need to work on, some of my social skills, upgrading some of those things, and I have. But for the most part, it was more spiritual. It's more spiritual. See, things happen when they see that um you have the capabilities to do certain things, and you're soaring above what they expect you to be, or they don't have leverage. Oh, they don't have leverage with you. Okay. And so, like I said, I noticed that this person was talking, every person they was talking to, they would sit there and look at me, they would monitor me, they would go and try to follow me, and it was very much irritating because it's just like, okay, like you have something else to do. It's so many other things here to do. And if you don't have anything else to do, like, let me help you so I can move around. Find somebody else. But I knew it was spiritual, so I dealt with it. I prayed about it. I dealt with the source. And like I said, when these people came around, and they had their whole group, it was getting dismantled because I was still showing kindness. I was still being respectful. I was still having an upbeat, positive attribute about me, and I kept it moving. See when people, I have learned never to let people steal your joy. Some people get a kick out of you being upset, being unhappy, being bottled down. And when you don't give them that power, it angers them. They got to take all that negativity that they pushed out. They got to swallow that. They have to swallow that because you're not receiving it. It's like a boomerang effect. I promise you. And so that's exactly what I was doing. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to let that get to me. I have a goal in mind. I'm going to stick to my goals, and I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to, manifest and get the promises that God had already designed for me to get. I'll be doggone if I go through so much hardship here and not get what God has called me to get. Like that's crazy. I'm not, or go into establishment, and I don't even want people to even. Some people can't even dig deep on that concept. But why would you go to a job where you have the potential to upgrade your life, get certifications, get things? Why would you go there, work so hard to go get to a place, and then drop out at the last dime, at the last minute? You got to know that that's an attack of the enemy. I will never let anything separate me from the love of God, from what He has designed for me to do. I will never let somebody separate me from getting mine, okay? I am a go-getter. I am a hustler. I'm going to get mine. Whether it's through you, to you, past you, underneath you, on top of you. I'm going to get mine. It's just which option you choose. That's how you have to be. And I'm telling you, I just sometimes I wonder and I think, and I understand the pressure that some people have to go through because you're breaking a lot of things. If you've never done it before, if you're trying to change your life, it's going to be hard because you're doing something different than what you're accustomed to. So yes, excuse me, it's going to be hard, but I tell you, this is worth it. So excuse me, anyhow, everything's reflecting, everything's backfiring. It's doing all this crazy stuff. They had me to get up and teach, which thank God I went to school for elementary education, y'all. Most of y'all know that. So that's not an issue for me. I also teach social skills and life skills at the local alternate school, or what we consider the career center out here. And not only that, I worked in shelters and group homes where I had to be a facilitator. And so that part didn't even bother me. It just showed more of what God had already practiced me and designed me to do. So I'm getting up there and I'm going about it. So the next day, y'all, and I was feeling it all weekend. Someone was just telling me, pray, Belle, pray, because these attacks are coming against you. And I knew it was towards the workforce, and I was just like, dang. And there's a lot of other things that are coming, but that was one of the things that I prayed for. And so I got up and I got myself up early. I made sure that I left out of the house really early, because I wanted to make sure that I was on time and I had my mental clear, because I know what kind of atmosphere I'm going into now. It's no hiding. So I go ahead and I do that. And as I'm sitting in the break room, they don't even know that I'm there because I'm there so early. And I'm eating my hard-boiled eggs. Yeah, I'm eating my hard-boiled eggs. Go figure. Anywho, hard-boiled eggs, and I overhear my boss, the one that tried to turn me in over the conversation in the restroom. I overhear her saying things about me, how she didn't like me, and a couple other people saying they like me. They like that I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm dealing with learning behaviors, things like that. I just know my job. So some people were saying that, but they were going in talking about how I look, my nails. I guess I'm looking like Shanae. I was like, when did Shanae ever have? But yeah, these nails, they're supposed to be grotesque. Okay. The way I wear my clothes, because I match with my clothes, y'all, which I do. if I'm going to go do something, I'm going to make sure that I am some way put together when it's dealing with work. Now, I'm not saying super dress up or dress out, but if my dress code is something like this, I'm going to try my best to make sure everything coordinates. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so, especially when I'm dress code. So yeah, they like, talking about this, talking about my hair, just talking about all this stuff. And I'm sitting there with my hard-boiled eggs, just eating, with my tangine, and I'm sitting there eating. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just sitting there eating. At first I was just like, dang, like the audacity. But I thought about it like this. God prepared me for this because he literally told me to pray. Some things was going to kick off and to pray. And I'm glad that I did because my mindset was in a different spot. I no longer took it as an insult. I took it as a compliment because it showed me that I was doing the right thing with God. Not only that, I was doing the right thing at my job. Everything that they said about me was a personal issue. It had nothing to do with me busting my butt, working for those kids, working for those young adults, and showing up for therapy. It showed none of that. Like, it didn't talk about any of that. So at that point, it never said that I was disrespectful to any of those people there as well. So at that point, I had to chuckle and laugh like, okay, so you got to find something against me to even go through that. Not only that, they talked about how, how my name, because if you guys don't know, my name is Beldine, so it's just 2 syllables. People think it's one, but how they thought that I was not a woman of color, and how that was a problem, and how they had to check my my credentials to make sure that I was who I said I was, and how they double check, which is crazy because you have to check everybody's background and stuff like that. But you literally coming out of your mouth to say that you took the time to do it, and they're just laughing. I'm telling y'all, they have a cackling sessions and everything, and I'm literally sitting there. If I was a weak-minded person, I probably would cry. But since I'm not that kind of person, I'm a chuckle person. I'm like, oh, I would rather get that information, tuck it back, because guaranteed I'm gonna pull it back out later. Okay, guaranteed I'm gonna pull that thing out later. Okay. Which I did start to record. I was up there laughing for a good minute, for about 7 minutes. It went on for like 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Because that's the 7-minute mark. I'm like, let me get my phone out and record. And so I recorded, y'all. And I was like, okay, I'm going to tuck this away for a good time, because people, if you do it right now, that's just retarded. I told y'all I operate like Walmart security. Walmart will let you get away with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay? And they'll be watching you the whole time while you stealing. While you just stealing. And then you steal a stick of bubble gum. You thinking it's cool. You done got everything calm. You went on about everything. You thinking everything is cool. And you get a stick of bubble gum. And you thinking you gonna get away because you done got away with so much. A little stick of bubble gum ain't gonna hurt you. And then if they catch you stealing a stick of bubble gum, they just gonna slap you on the wrist. But no, they catch you and they get you for everything. So that's how I was thinking in my mindset. How am I gonna play this out? Because you can't, sometimes you can be like, okay, gotta tell you just leave things alone or let things be. But sometimes God wants you to do that. So then when they try to come back, when they try to, act like they're cool and everything, you know what their devices are. You know what's up. So you don't have to pretend or play any dumb games with people. Which I hate to do. I hate playing games with people. You don't like me, we don't like each other, that's cool. Keep it moving. God bless you, God bless me, and keep going. I'm that kind of person. And keep going. I will not have any hard feelings for you saying that you do not like me at all. Look, at all. And so, I say this is because, oh yeah, not only that, I forgot to tell y'all the main part that they said they was going to do. So they was like, well, we'll deal with her, today. We're going to do these things. And they're talking about all the things that they're going to do to me to try to throw me off my game. Move my things around. Let's see if she's going to function this way. I'm thinking I'm tripping. Like, And I've been through situations like this. So that's why I was just like, I'm so grateful that God gave me that opportunity. This is why I didn't jump out. God had already spoke to me. God gave me the opportunity to hear. So I know that I'm not going bat ding crap crazy. And he gave me an opportunity to hear and an opportunity to prepare. When you know that when the enemy is coming against you or somebody's coming against you, whether it be at work, at your home, or anything like that, you know a robber is coming. You can prepare. You can prepare. It ain't best for you to tell the robber, "Oh, I know you coming to rob my house. I overheard you saying that." No, you know what you're gonna do. You're gonna prepare. You're gonna prepare so when they come, you can flatline them. And so, um, yeah, that's what I did. I started preparing. It was literally making a whole plan as to far as how, I'm gonna take her kid and do this, and then it's gonna look like she just left, and it's gonna be another safety issue. I already had that happen before, y'all. It was so ridiculous. Like, people trying to supposedly covering for breaks, and then they don't. All kind of crazy stuff. So, I was so happy that I came in that early because it clarified my mind and it got me ready and got me focused for that day. I was so ready for the shenanigans, and I was ready to stay, not only that, but stay focused on God and move how he moved, to where when they was trying to do stuff, they didn't even have an opportunity. I didn't let them have an opportunity to try to mess me up on a break or mess me up on a client, mess me up on a worksheet. I did not give them the satisfaction. I did not, okay? I kept my conversations brief, happy, uptight. I kept it moving. When I say I kept it moving, I kept it moving, y'all. Like, they was looking so upset. But it gave me clarification to know that some of this stuff is hidden in plain sight. When people start acting like that and they start doing that, it's always telltale signs. They always tell on themselves all the time, y'all. All the time, all the time. It's up to you to get up and listen and hear and see. And you, if you just be silent and just look around, you'll see it. You'll see it right off the bat. You'll see their envy. You'll see their jealousy right off the bat. I did. It just was like, it took me a minute, but it was just like, okay, aha, I see. I see what's going on. I see that this is what you are up to, and now I can maneuver. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm not one of those people like that always talk about God told me this. God, I'm telling y'all this that I know for a fact what God is doing for me and for a lot of people who are going through this. Okay. When you go through a process, God does not let his word turn void. If you stay with him, even in my weakest moments when I messed up, you stay with him and you repent and you keep going, because God knows you're not perfect. That's his job, to be perfect. He will help you. He will lead you. He will guide you through certain situations like this, okay? And you start seeing, I'm telling y'all, my whole life has been a literal living like hell. Like, I mean, it's been so much torture that I've been going through these last couple of years. I want to say 7-8 years. It's been woo 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 woo. And one thing that I noticed is that God has been strengthening me. He's been staying with me. When I stay focused on him and I go back to him, and stay with him, he guides me. Not to say that the situation goes away, but he guides me through it. He guides me through it. And this is a time where people are revving up even more and more because they don't think that you got nothing to offer. They think that you are less worthy than them. And this is going to be a time where a lot of people are going to fall flat on their face. They are going to fall flat on their face. It is a price to pay when you're dealing and you're messing with people who are committed to God, and God's children. It is a price. There is a price to pay. And that's even for believers. That's even for another child of God. You cannot do that to another child of God. Like, people, I don't understand. You got to reevaluate yourself if you want to harm anyone, whether they're a child of light or darkness. Yeah, you got to reevaluate your life and ask yourself, are you really who you say you are? Because a real child of God is not going to do that. You know, you're gonna protect yourself. You ain't gotta be a doormat, but you're not really trying to do no harm to nobody. You're just trying to finish what you need to do and to be done with it. You know, to be done and to live in peace and harmony. And a lot of people are not like that. They don't feel like they have an opportunity to do that themselves, so they're gonna try to bring you down. But I'm telling y'all, God is showing up and showing out like what he's always showing up and showing out for real. When he show up, is that's what it is. But he is coming, he is going and changing people's lives drastically. You know, he rewards those people who diligently seek him. He rewards us. He rewards us. He rewards us. You know, and people are going to see a lot of those rewards. I remember saying, talking about the promise that I saw, and I saw this dream. I'm saying it's the promise now, but I knew deep down it was a promise, and how it was a whole bunch of us looking really scraggly, and we was trying to cross the street, and it was a lot of people who was like nobles, man. They was all on the other side of the street, and in the traffic, it was people going back and forth. Some people was going back and forth, but the traffic wasn't even acknowledging who was on the sidewalk, who was on the other side of the four-way intersection. And it looked like a highway, but it was sidewalks on the side, so it was weird. And like I said, I was on the side, and it looked really dusty. And on the as I started crossing the four-way street, I started noticing even how some of the people were on the driving. Some people were going like this, around in circles. Some people were going straight past and not coming back. Some people were going this way, going all the way to the end and then going back. It was weird. But it was some people that was just going literally around in circles. And as we crossed, they weren't even noticing us crossing the street. There was some people who was crossing the street who was falling out and like not making it. But I remember all the people who were on my side that was all dusty. It was some people who were like, they weren't poor in like, I don't know how we had rags, but we weren't poor inside. Like our spirits were still okay, like intact. But there were a lot of people who were known, like all these other people had sashes on the other side. And once we started crossing, there were people who had sashes. They were balling up. Their sashes were rolling up on them, and they were rolling into the street. Y'all can look that up, the video that I'm talking about. It started reminding me, but this scenario in plain sight started reminding me, because all this was happening during the four-way intersection, and nobody was looking. It was dead in plain sight, and some people was acknowledging it, and other people weren't. There was some people in the cars, they were not looking. The people who were in the cars were not looking. Some of them saw and didn't even care and was just like, whatever, you know. But I really do believe that this is God's promise, you know. It's showing to me, like God is telling me this is the promise. Like this is, you know, his word doesn't come void. He's showing that you're going to be elevated. A lot of people are going to be elevated that you don't think is going to be elevated. So a lot of people who are going to fall down. Some people are just transferring. They're not coming back. Like it's their time has ended. It's expired, you know. Not only physically, but spiritually. Their time has expired. Some other people were getting transferred. Like I said, some people were getting transferred, like went up. Some people were just dying. Some people were just, you know, having their sashes, when they left, they still had their sash. Some people still had their sashes when they got moved out of that place, you know, but the other person had another sash on. It was other people who was getting their sashes ripped off. Like, it was just, man, it was crazy. And the sashes were different colors, but that's what this, in plain sight, this video reminded me of that, because the same way that these people try to humiliate you in public is the same way, especially when you're standing for God, it's the same way that God is going to promote you in the eyes of them. And they're only going to be able to see it. They're only going to be able to see it. They're not going to be able to partake in it when they used to have a time to partake in it and to have time with you and things like that. God is not going to allow it. He's not going to allow. He's going to put it in your soul and in your spirit that to remember the times what they did to you, how they treat you. You know, I had a lot of people who I thought I knew they could have took me to different places, and they had that anointing, but they didn't. And they wanted to downplay me. They wanted to disregard me, do all kind of things. But when God started elevating me, and then all of a sudden they want to, oh, hey, baby, hey, this. They want to walk back in your life. And God got me to a point. I promise you, I'm so grateful for all the hard things that I went through, because it showed me that I didn't need those people. I didn't have to sacrifice what God told me to get to where I needed to go, because God had it already planned for me. And what God has, nobody can take. And these people really hated, and it showed me that people really hated me in plain sight. When I say they really hated me in plain sight. And because of that, now they have to take that time. They have to use that same energy. That same energy that they took. That same feeling that they took, and they tried to harm me, and they tried to do all kinds of crazy things to me. They have to take that, and now they have to live with that. They got to live with that by themselves. And God told me don't help them, and looking and going back through what I went through, and to see some of those people who really intentionally hurt me, like physically and spiritually, not only, and mentally. Let me say mentally too, because some of these people, low vibrational people, they don't get an opportunity to come back. They don't. And don't feel bad for them. Don't feel bad for these people. They know what they did. These people know exactly what they did. And they're not remorseful. The only thing that they wishing is that they wish it was them, or their family member, or their loved one. So don't give them that satisfaction. Don't give them that satisfaction. Close the door, keep the door closed, and keep moving. It was right there in plain sight for you to see all the hate, all the evilness, all the crazy little things that they did. That was up to you to get what you need to get. Get what you need to get, because God put you in there for a reason. God put you in that place for a reason. Just like I think about my job, they like, okay, but why? When I started telling my friend, they like, well, why do you want to stay in a job like that? Why don't you just leave? And I'm like, I'm sitting there, y'all, window busted, so. And I'm sitting there like, I'm sitting there in my head. Okay, this gotta be enough. Yeah, so I'm sitting there in my head, and I'm like, why would I in any shape, form, or fashion, why would I ever do that? Why? I just want to add, why would I move when God already placed me in that spot? It was a reason for me to be placed in that spot. It was a reason why you're placed in this spot. It was a reason, like, don't knock that. Yeah, it was a reason why you was in that spot. So don't knock it. Don't try to leave or anything. Get what you need to get, because when God promotes you and when He elevates you, which He will, because His word does not turn to Him void. Okay, it just don't. It don't. When that happens, when that happens, they're not gonna have time to have a seat with you. They're not gonna have that time. I promise you that. Okay. Y'all, I kid you not. I know doggone well. Y'all, I do not see. I do not see my badge, but they're not gonna have that. They're not gonna have that opportunity. They're not gonna have that time. So, ooh, okay. Oh no. Oh great. Yeah, they're not gonna have that time. So don't stress it. I'm gonna get off of here. Hopefully, something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. Bye. And